Okay. Wonderful. I'll give it another 30 seconds just for people to finish signing on, and we will get started. Anyone in New Jersey? Any New Jersey natives? I mean, other than myself? Wonderful. Okay, let's get started. I always like to start on time. Always the best thing to do. Okay, so I'd like to start out and just kind of introduce what it is that we are doing today, and what it is that we are praying for, what it is that we're raising money for, what it is that we are committing ourselves to. And over the past number of years, we noticed a trend, particularly here in Israel, post October 7th. That wait a second, the young people, we got to do something about it. The young people are not necessarily standing in the same place as their parents, and we started asking ourselves a question, which is the topic of today: are we at the last generation of Christian Zionists? What's going to be with regard to the younger generation? And we needed to start doing something, and we need to start doing something fast. And so we quickly got together in the days really right after October 7th. One of the first calls that I got from Rabbi Tuli was, we got to go ahead and bring a plane load of young people, that they should come here and they should volunteer. They should be part of what is going on. And Rabbi Tuli had this great idea. And I said to him, I said, okay, we're going to bring these people here. How are they getting home? He's like, I don't know. We'll figure that out after, but let's get them here. So then we developed a plan, which ended up turning into our young leadership trip, which we now run twice a year. And I want to talk about, just on a personal impact, what these types of trips can do. When I was 16 years old, and this is just kind of my origin story over here. I was 16 years old. I came to Israel for the summer. I came and I was in Judea. I was in Efrat, the city of Efrat, and they had a summer camp. They had an all-boys summer camp. And this other boy walks in from Columbus, Ohio, that I never would have met, and he said, "Hi, I'm Tuli Weiss." I said, "Hi, I'm Rami Goldberg. Nice to meet you." And that became what has become this very long friendship that we have had, and so much that we have shared. And when I think back on that moment, it was the reason why I was able to be on that particular summer trip was because there was a scholarship that was given out to any that people wanted to go to a Jewish summer camp in Israel for the summer. This is the way to come. And thankfully, we had many. Thankfully, I was able to go. I was able to meet Rabbi Tuli and start this amazing friendship. And that was all because of the generosity of the older generation, recognizing that we need to go ahead and we need to take care of the younger generation. We need to inspire them, and we need to place things on their heart. And that, when I think back to that, I think, wow, I was so fortunate in that, and I just want to go ahead and I want to pay that forward to the next generation, and how we do that. There's a very strange verse. If we look in Psalms 34:12, and when you read the translation, it doesn't quite have it, because kind of the meaning of the verse as a double entendre. But the verse says, and I'll say it in Hebrew first, it says, "L'chu vanim shimuli yirat Hashem al medeichem." L'chu vanim, go away, my children, and listen to me, and I will teach you fear of God. I will teach you to serve God. Such an interesting verse. L'chu, go away. If I want to teach you something, I say, come here, my child. I want to tell you something. And I put my arm around my child. But here, King David says in the Psalms, he says, "Go away, my children, and I can teach you." So ultimately, when do we know our children have inculcated everything that we've taught them? It's only once they leave. It's only once they're out of the house. It's only once they have moved beyond our borders. So teach them in such a way that, no, they're not reliant on my instructions day to day, moment to moment. No, teach them in a way that when they leave our purview, when they leave our homes, when they leave our communities, they go out there and they serve God. So only then will I know that I've actually given to the next generation. And that's what we need to do. collectively, we all need to work together in order to go ahead and to bring these young leaders. And I'm going to put this up right at the beginning, that we are raising money for our young leaders. We have twice a year, we bring over 20 young leaders to Israel, that they are then able to go ahead and they're able to become inspired. And what you're going to hear over the course of the next hour or so from many of our young leaders, how they have been inspired, how God has been placed on their heart as a result of this trip that they were able to come to. And now, these trips are not inexpensive. They're $5,000, and we do them at cost. It's $5,000 to bring each participant. Now, they have to come up with $1,000, and we raise money. We collectively, I'm saying everybody who's on this call, have to come up with that money. Now, some people can easily afford $5,000, and they're very happy to do it. Others can sponsor half a person, and others, they can do smaller amounts. And so I ask everybody, whatever you're able to, listen to the testimonies of our young people, listen to what they teach us, listen to the future of Christian Zionism, support for Israel in America, support in the communities, and everybody who's able to go ahead and to help and to support, we welcome your support. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up our young leaders. Some of them younger, some of them a little bit older. We've had different range. So I'm going to ask Sebastian to come join us. Hold on. Here we go. To come join me on stage and to go ahead and to share some of what it was like within the on the trip itself, and some of his experiences since he's come back to share some kind of where he sees the next generation and the future of Christian Zionism. Sebastian, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your experiences, and looking forward to hearing your prayers and your thoughts about and things that we should be praying for. So thank you.
Yeah, hey, Sarah, I see Sarah is here too. Rabbi Rami, so good to be here. Thank you for having me on this call. Thank you for taking me on the trip. It's the same thing I said back then, like, thank you for inviting me to that wonderful trip. And yes, to everyone in the audience, I'm really young at heart and like the not so super young end of the group that went. So I was definitely much younger people there. The reason I came is that I work a lot with young people, and the trip was transformational. So I loved how you opened up, Rami. There's a many ways I can start speaking about the experience, and I'll just let it flow. And whenever there's a question, an idea, just interject and like guide me into where you want me to be and bring my testimony. When you first invited me to this call, and like the question of, is it the last generation of Christian Zionists that we're facing, I really sat with that. And honestly, I bring a very optimistic response to that, because personally, yes, I was Christian before October 7th, but let's say so engaged. Okay, I took it seriously, but not that much, to be quite frank. And what I really want to say is that everything that happened afterwards, October 7th, that is, feeling the care in my heart, feeling how important it is to look, to stand up, to be connected to my Jewish friends, and then with God's blessing, being able to go to Israel for the first time with Israel 365, it really changed me in my connection to my own faith. So this trip brought me to the Holy Land, brought me to Jerusalem for the first time with a group of Christian brothers and sisters, meeting Rami and other Jewish friends, and just being there, feeling how we're connected in the heart, how we're really one and one family, filled me up with so much joy and meaning. And I returned from that trip knowing that there is a very deep reality of like my mission in life to connect deeper to Jesus, to connect deeper to the Jewish people, because we are part of the same tree of life. And that's one of the biggest gifts that I received from that trip. And because of that, because I experienced that joy, I experienced the abundance of generosity and love and care that came from everyone I met towards me and the whole group. I feel that in my heart every day. I have a much, much easier or more natural time just speaking about Israel and why it's important to be supportive and connected. And I could go at length of what are all the meanings and the reasons to support Israel, beginning with it's just a commandment to bless and support Israel and the Jewish people. And I feel the blessing of that in my life the more I do it. But then even having been there, having experienced I like to say it, the craftiness and the creativity and the joy of creation. Everywhere we went, we saw so much being created out of nothing, and barren land turning into farms, and everything was done with joy and exuberance. That energy that I experienced in Israel is really like nothing else I experienced anywhere. And so that comes on top of the, let's say, spiritual dimension of the blessing I received. It's really the clarity that Israel is an example for the world, is really a light among the nations from which we can all learn to make our world better where we are. So this trip helped me connect to my spirituality, to my faith, helped me connect to the joy of life that is possible amidst such a challenging environment. We've been to places where you could see this is not easy to live here, surrounded by sometimes very challenging circumstances. Still, everyone I met was grounded in, I'm here to create, I'm here supported by God, I have faith, I will do my best, and people were joyous and happy and not afraid. And bringing that attitude back to America, into the work I do, really makes it easy to speak of Israel as a blessing to the world and to help soften people's preconceived notions. I live in San Francisco, and you can imagine that there is a lot of misunderstanding about Israel. People don't know that much about Israel. And if one can speak from the heart, from my own experience, and not from arguments I read somewhere, it's just so much more powerful. I don't have to convince anyone. I just have to share, this is what I experienced. This is how it really is. You should see it too. Makes a real difference. And without that trip, it would have never been possible for me to experience it. I read so much about Israel. I learned so much about the history, especially after October 7th. And yet, once I landed, it all came to life. It was a whole different thing. And there's a German saying, I'm originally from Germany. There's a German saying that nothing teaches you like traveling. And I think it's absolutely true. Yeah, so that'd be kind of my first testimony. I hope you can all hear and see me. All I see is myself. I hope the connection is still good. And I wonder if there's any questions I could answer specifically. Yeah, maybe you can give me a hint, Rabbi, because really just like in my own screen here, and I hope everything's good technically. Let me wait a second. Some technical troubles, I see. Okay. I hear you now, Rabbi. Did I speak to myself or did anyone hear me?
Oh, we heard you the whole time. I'm so sorry. I was
Okay, good.
trying to get back on. That was beautiful. One final question, and then we'll let you go.
Please.
Have you mentioned San Francisco? Have you had these conversations with people and give really in the last 30 seconds what was like one conversation that might have been memorable for you?
Okay, yes, I have these conversations, and I'm also building an allyship community here in the Bay Area between Jews, Israelis, and non-Jews and non-Israelis to create the friendship that we need. And in that context, I actually met Jews that were really critical of Israel, believe it or not. And there was one particular one, she calls herself an anti-Zionist, being Jewish. And so we sat down for a whole dinner. And that was a very difficult conversation. And I heard her arguments, and it was easy to not get reactive, but to just say, okay, I hear you. And my experience was this. My experience was living in peace with everyone within Israel, for example. And she has never been to Israel, by the way. So having been there made all the difference. And a door opened. I haven't turned her into a Zionist yet, and it will be difficult, but there is a connection now that was able to make that because I had this grounding in the experience, invaluable, and we're going to continue that fight.
Beautiful. Sebastian, thank you so much. God should continue to bless your work and everything that you do, and we're looking forward to seeing the fruits of your labor, and hopefully see you back on this side of the pond real soon.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Miss it. Thank you.
Very good. So I wanted to share a message. Yeah, so this I wanted to share just a little bit a video with about our young leadership, and here we go.
Ciao, mi chiamo Brandon Condi per la precisione. Mi chiamo Dominique Rodriguez. Mi chiamo Juan.
Mi chiamo Sara Basket. Sono la moglie di Juan. Mi chiamo Asia. Mi chiamo Goldie.
Questa è la prima volta che vengo in Israele.
I don't know what happened. Apparently we got the Spanish version. A couple of technical glitches today. Hold on. Yeah, maybe some of you understand. Let me just see one thing.
Piccola. Ho letto la Bibbia perché sono nata cristiana.
Okay, we're gonna skip this video for right now. I will send out the original video, but it's about our young leaders. So we'll go on. So I'm gonna bring in Jay in. Here we go on to share a couple of words about the trip. And as I mentioned before, there is a link in the bottom left corner of your screen. So anyone who wants to go ahead and to support what we are doing, certainly very much appreciated. Coming on in just one moment. Okay, thank you so much for joining us today. And it was lovely to have you just a couple of months ago on the trip, and looking forward to hearing your testimony, hearing some of your prayers about what you see as are we living in the last generation of Christian Zionists, and what do you see from your generation? And please share with us.
Yeah, I was in Israel with, almost 2 months ago we landed. 2 months ago, a few days ago. And so incredibly grateful to Israel 365 for the opportunity to go back. It wasn't my first trip, but I think it is one of the most special. Getting to be on a shared bus with Jews and Christians in the similar age category, and really just get to see how we all live life in the United States, but can come to Israel together and have this beautiful experience where we travel the land and we really strengthen each other. And my favorite part about these trips is that when I come home, I have more friends who are Christian Zionists, and we're sending each other memes, and we've made more Jewish friends, and we really feel a deeper connection to Israel. And we really do, like what Sebastian was talking about, we feel that connection to the tree of life. And one of the most kind of memorable moments, and I don't even know which moment it was exactly. I remember, and I think it was probably Rabbi Eli made the comment how the God of Israel never slumbers or sleeps. And just realizing that with everything that's happened in the last few years in Israel, especially since I started going almost 3 years ago, you really see how God is moving to protect his people in the land that he gave them. And to get to feel connected to that as a Christian not only has strengthened my faith, but made me want to know more and made me want to be a better friend to the Jewish people, and be a prouder Zionist. And so I'm in my last semester at Yeshiva University getting a master's in Jewish studies. And then I'm also really looking for opportunities in my community that doesn't have a Jewish presence. How can I help, Christians around me learn about what it means to be a Zionist and support Israel and go to Israel? Because I think, I don't think we are the last generation of Christian Zionists. I'm hoping that we're one of the strongest. But all of that starts by how we carry ourselves when we're home, and we talk about our trips to Israel and really can break down the headlines, because most people are seeing a headline and they're moving on. So they're not aware of what is actually happening. And many from my community, they've never met someone Jewish. They don't know what it means to be Jewish. And so a trip like with Israel 365, where you're sitting at a Shabbat table and you're going to Shiloh and you're walking the old city and seeing the city of David, you really get to see that, this is the culture and the life that Jesus would have lived, and building that connection and understanding kind of the shared history really helps bring people in and makes them just more aware of the roots of the Christian faith, and also really brings the two of us together. So I am very hopeful that this is not the last generation of Christian Zionists, but hopefully a generation that is strong, and really sets the tone for the coming generations. I'm hoping that I've traveled to Israel with probably across 5 trips, probably 100 different people, we'll say conservatively. And I'm, prayerful and hopeful that for each of us that have kids, we raise another generation of Christian Zionists who are then taking their kids. And it's something that, as the world gets more accessible, we can bridge that gap and be closer than we ever have before, because the numbers of us will just continue to grow and be stronger. And then also that the Christian church in the United States will wake up and not shy away from politics, but stand firm on this issue and know that what the New Testament is talking about is from a Jewish perspective, and that we should not kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater, but really embrace the Jewish roots of Christianity and build those bonds of friendships, to just know, just to connect. I mean, one, the roots of Christianity, but also in support of Israel and the Jewish people, so that when anti-Semitism happens, you have a Christian friend standing alongside you. And so that the future is much more bright for Jewish-Christian relations. That is my hope and prayer.
So I'm curious, did they have campus protests in your school? Is that something that you witnessed in I guess last year?
Yeah. So I graduated several years ago. I'm not sure if there were campus protests. I do see local protests where I live. It is mostly a extremely liberal group that protests everything. And they would hold signs that say Free Palestine, but there was about 6 of them standing
Okay.
on a street corner, and everyone just kind of knows to ignore them. But the real problem in my mind is not that they're standing on the street corner with their signs. It's the fact that most people drive by and the headline that they remember seeing is like all eyes on Rafah. They don't actually know what happened on October 7th. And that's one of the things that I've just personally tried to make people aware in the day-to-day is like, hey, what you're seeing on the headlines is not true. Or this headline that there was a hospital bombed in Gaza, that was a Hamas rocket that hit the parking lot. That's not how Israel carries itself. Israel's army has fought a more just war than the US has, or the US has in the past. And so really just trying to break down the headlines and then also connect the personal. Having friends in Israel has made it so much easier to talk about and break down the issues because I can say, well, I know people who are serving or have served. And I know their character, and I know that they wouldn't wish harm on someone because they're from a different faith and a different ethnic group than them. And so really being able to break those things down has been really helpful. And I think that the campus protests, they follow a fad of wanting to, help the victim, but they don't recognize that they are just being a useful idiot to a message that they have not just, if I went and asked someone on that street corner, what does it mean to free Palestine? They wouldn't know what that means. And I think that's just the lack of knowledge is a problem.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, I think standing together and what you're pointing out is having relationships and actually meeting real people and seeing the way that each other lives and spending Shabbat together and all of these things just strengthen that bond. And yes, there's going to be things that we disagree about, but there's so many more things that we have in common, a common Bible, a common language that we can share. And I appreciate it so much, and God should bless you in your studies, and get your master's. Hopefully, Hebrew's not giving you too much trouble. That's I know always a killer for the master's students. But thank you so much. Thank you for joining us and giving your wisdom and your thoughts.
Thank you.
So I would like to share Rabbi Eli, who many of you know, was not able to join us, but he did leave us a message, and I'd like to share his message. Hopefully it didn't change to Spanish, but we'll find out in a moment, won't we?
Hi everyone, Eli Michel here. It's great to join you at this prayer call, and thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I've had an incredible experience with so many absolutely outstanding young leaders on our young leader trips that we've been running here at Israel 365. And one thing that I've learned is that we should not sell this generation short. A lot of people are down on the younger generation. I understand why. So many people are lost. So many are confused. But the truth is, that's really not their fault. The mainstream media is feeding them lies. At the same time, people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and so many other influencers in alternative media are selling them short. We're living in a generation now that the rabbis say, the sages said this a long time ago, the Jewish sages, they said that we're living in a time when truth is lost, when every flock has their own truth. But the fact is, that's a sign that redemption is coming. It's one of the signs that the world gets more and more and more confused before the end days. So I think that we're living through that right now. And if only we can give young people the truth, if we can help them pierce through this fog, if we can help them break free from what they're hearing in mainstream media, we help them break free from social media and show them the land of Israel, well, then their natural greatness kicks in. And that's what I've been seeing with all of these young leaders who I've been blessed to get to know, some of whom you're meeting on this call today. They are outstanding, and they're searching for the truth. And when you give them the truth, when you show them what happened, when you show them what's happening here in the land of Israel, they're on fire, and they're talented. They've got unbelievable abilities to change this world for the better. And so instead of just dismissing the young generation, let's do our part. Let's give them the truth. Let's give them the experiences that they need. Let them help them see what they need to see. And then I believe that they will lead us out of this darkness that we find ourselves in today. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and thank you, Rabbi Rami, and to all of the incredible young leaders, and to all of you for doing all that you can for the people and for the state of.
Such timely words. Rabbi Eli is always the best. I'm sorry that if everyone had to be like that for 2.5 minutes, but his words certainly, one of the things that the rabbis teach us is they say that words that come from the heart enter the heart. And Rabbi Eli always speaks from the heart. And it's always something that we feel, and we know that I know that he wanted to be here, but he certainly wanted to give that message over. And this is the generation. This is the generation that we are working on and working with. And it's a generation where, in Israel pre-October 7th, there was always this feeling of like, oh, maybe this generation can't fight. Maybe this generation is too weak. And I think there's probably like a similar fear and feeling in the United States that, oh, maybe this generation is just weak, but I don't think that's true. And I know that from the people that we have seen, we and the leaders that we've brought and that you've seen already, and we'll see a few more before the day is out. And it's something they are really there. They're really stepping up to do something amazing. I want to call Sarah on stage, and hopefully, there she is. Can join us. Sarah, you are okay. Wonderful. Sarah, welcome. Sarah's from my home state of New Jersey. I mean, you're living there now, right?
Yes.
I don't remember. Are you originally from New Jersey?
So I was born in Queens, so in New York, right?
I say
Right
boo,
across
but
the
my wife
bridge.
is from Queens, but okay.
Yeah. But we moved over to New Jersey before I even had like a sense of
Okay.
reason. So, yep, New Jersey, pretty much New Jersey native, just almost.
Wonderful. Yeah, certainly everyone gets it wrong because they drive down the Garden State, but you have to go off of the Garden State to really see the beauty of the state. So,
That's
Sarah,
right.
thank you so much for joining us. And Sarah came with her husband,
Absolutely.
and so happy that you were able to join us, and looking forward to hearing your testimony and some words of prayer for this generation and for the mission going forward.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Rabbi. And hi, Mama Mercedes. Lots of love, and to all our friends that are on the call. It's always such a treat to be able to share. I love to be able to share about Israel, but even more specifically about this trip. I do unfortunately have to preface that all of these things are my experience, and unfortunately not something that everybody has lived. And especially in my line of work as an attorney for the state of New Jersey, a lot of people even within my line of work have many opinions and many different things to say. I will say it has been a blessing to switch from being a student at a very liberal law school to now working, because it seems that the audience and the people around me have changed, and we do of course have a different standard that's expected of us, but still there's so much resistance within this tri-state area where it was surrounded by very loud and wrongly used progressive leaders and people around us that are really pushing forward these narratives that hurt Israel and hurt her people, and in turn hurt us as Christians, as believers in Jesus. And my father always likes to repeat this phrase that he's drilled into the mind of our community. He's a pastor in our community. And he says, anti-Semitism is anti-Christianity. Like, one thing, the anti-Semitism leads to anti-Christianity. And the people that are coming against Israel and her people will also come against us. And I don't remember which organization's charter it is that says first the Saturday people and then the Sunday people. So it's a bit disheartening to see so many, even Christians, be affected by this narrative that Rabbi Eli was talking about in his video. It's so disheartening to see even people that you would think have this love for the Bible and for the New Testament that we read as well, love for Jesus, a Jewish man born in Bethlehem. It's a sad reality that we see. So what we've done to kind of fight against this is start this just very small initiative, and we call it Shomrim Latinos. And most of you, or many of you, probably know the meaning of the word Shomrim, but it means watchmen or guardians, and that's based on Isaiah 62:6, which I'd love to read, so we have it just present in our minds a little bit later on. But I want to say a few other things first. We've started this initiative because we are part of a challenging demographic. My family immigrated to this country over 20 years ago. I was born here, and through our process, we've met many people who, because of the immigrant experience, assume that they have to take some stance, some political stance, and some views. But the reality is that we're here. There's so many of us that immigrated and had to follow a very long legal process in order to establish our families here, to enter the country and to establish our families here. And I've been blessed by the fruit of that perseverance in pushing forward, even through long years of processes of getting visas and opportunities to enter and to work and pursue a life, that we come across a lot of other immigrants with similar experiences, but they feel that because of their background, my family is Colombian, because of their background, because of being in this country as immigrants, they have to take a very general political stance, which unfortunately includes a lot of these like progressive, again, wrong use of the word, but these stances that include standing against Israel, embracing anti-Zionism, embracing anti-Semitism, when in reality it's so close to us as immigrants, to understand that there is something so beautiful in Israel, her people being able to return to their native land and to prosper in it. So we teach this to our community, and that we as Christians, as people who love Jesus, also need to love the land in which he was born and raised and developed his ministry. We need to love the people that he loved, and his own people. So that's why we take this challenge and we face it head on, even though it is, of course, complicated and murky during these times. But we ask the Lord to give us wisdom and grace. And we push forward this flag of Israel in our own communities. So it's a beautiful thing to see lots of Latinos that are extremely pro-Israel, that love Israel. And we have gone as a church, as a ministry, numerous times. We work with Christian organizations that also are pushing forward this education and translate that material to our community so that they're able to learn it and to embrace it as their own, not only spiritual stance, but also something moral. Like, we stand for Israel not just because of like our faith, but we also stand with Israel because of the modern state and what it means today. Even though we can continue to talk about this for hours, but like the policies and politics and just all of these decisions may not be the perfect ones, but we nonetheless stand with Israel's right to exist as a nation in the ancestral homeland, exactly where it is. And I am one of the more radical peoples that like to say Israel and all of her ancestral homelands given by the Lord. So there are a few other areas in the region that I'd like to visit, but I always say I'll visit them when they become part of Israel once again. So I believe that the Lord will fulfill that promise. And that, of course, is like a little bit of a hot topic, but I'll just put it out there. I do want to say that this trip, my husband and I went with Israel 365 in May, and it was such an eye-opening experience to go on this mixed trip, Christians and Jews coming together in the land of Israel to learn more about what unites us, about stories of the Bible, seeing the places themselves. And this trip really changed our lives completely. And just with this small anecdote or news to share, I'll say that we do not believe that this is the last generation of Christian Zionists. In this trip in May, we were able to visit Shiloh, a very special place, as most of us know, the place where Anna asked the Lord to grant her a child. And we were the only married couple on this trip. My husband is with me. He's listening, and he says hello to everybody that we know. But I prayed before the Lord, asking that he would also grant us children. We're both only children, and we want many children. We want to push forward this next generation that loves God and loves his promised land and loves his people. So I also prayed before the Lord, and I asked that he would grant us children. And shortly after, we're actually expecting our first son now. And it's only appropriate that we name him Shmuel, that we name him Samuel, because of the place in which we asked the Lord for him and that the Lord heard. So this trip very much changed our lives, not only spiritually, being able to visit the places, not only political and moral stances, because we were able to visit the sites that were attacked on October 7th, but also personally, because now we're starting this family, we're starting something new, we're starting this next generation of Christian Zionists and all of this happened through a trip with Israel 365. And I think that by supporting this work and by supporting more students and young adults going on these trips, it's actively pushing forward this banner for Israel, for the next generation of Christian Zionists. So is this the last generation? No, absolutely not. Baby Shmuel is going to be wearing an Israeli flag from the day that he's born until the Lord calls all of us or him before his presence again. But I just want to briefly read the verse from Isaiah 62. If I can, I don't want to go too much over time, Rabbi.
Go for it.
But I'd like to read this to our Jewish friends and brothers and sisters that are on this call as a Christian Zionist. Isaiah 62 says, "Because I love Zion, I will not keep still. Because my heart yearns for Jerusalem, I cannot remain silent. I will not stop praying for her until her righteousness shines like the dawn and her salvation blazes like a burning torch. The nations will see your righteousness. World leaders will be blinded by your glory, and you will be given a new name by the Lord's own mouth. The Lord will hold you in his hand for all to see, a splendid crown in the hand of the Lord. Never again will you be called the forsaken city or the desolate land. Your new name will be the city of God's delight and the bride of God, for the Lord delights in you and will claim you as his bride. Your children will commit themselves to you, O Jerusalem, just as a young man commits himself to his bride. Then God will rejoice over you as a bridegroom rejoices over his bride." And this is where Shomrim Latinos comes in. The Lord says, "O Jerusalem, I have posted watchmen on your walls that will pray day and night continually. Take no rest, all of you who pray to the Lord. Give the Lord no rest until he completes his work, until he makes Jerusalem the pride of the earth." So this is our battle. This is our battle cry. This is what we raise as our banner, and we have amazing people on this call. Nadia, who went on one of the early Israel 365 trips. I don't think that she knows even many of the new people that have come on staff. I think it was even the first one right after October 7th, if I'm not mistaken. But she's also been an amazing part of Shomrim Latinos and of supporting and advocating for Israel 365. Brandon and Natalie, who unfortunately aren't on this call because of the recent passing of their grandmother, who's now before the Lord's presence and dancing and rejoicing, we believe. And it's such an honor to be able to come together with this amazing organization who has 100% changed our lives, and to push this banner, push this beautiful flag forward together. It's our honor, it's our duty as Christians, and we believe that the Lord smiles in this work. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
Sarah, thank you so much. And amen to everything, to your words. And God should bless you with health and bless this new child. Please God, and it should be an easy pregnancy, an easy delivery, and just to be able to then bring your child up to the tabernacle in Shiloh, as when you offer him up, not as a sacrifice, but as a servant up to God. So that was really powerful, and certainly brings chills and tears of joy for you and your husband and the entire family. And with people like you that are bringing forth more children and educating them properly, we know that God's promise will continue to Israel and to the Jewish people and to the world over, which ultimately is what we're looking for, is redemption of the entirety of the world. So thank you so much.
Amen.
And just health and happiness.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi.
So I would like to, I'm going to just to make one, an additional pledge and a request. We've seen so many of these young leaders and everything that they've done and everything that they stand for and how impactful. And if anyone to help support, please consider an offering of any amount. Meaning, I know it's filled in at 5,000 and 2,500, which is a lot for a lot of people, but you can always fill in the numbers to whatever works for you. But we would not be able to do this without your work. So please consider an offering to help support. It's something that these young people. We can only do this when we have the support of the people that are with us. I want to share one more testimony before we get to our final live. One more video from Samuel, and just to who, as he was thanking many of our donors and the impact that he felt and had. So I want to share that.
Hello, Israel 365 donors and partners and team. My name is Samuel Lowry. I'm the director of the Nehemiah Community Center here in Orlando, Florida, where we provide biblical entrepreneurship training and coaching and helping entrepreneurs find their God-given purpose and helping them to live that out. I am one of the special people that were privileged to receive part of your gift and your support to be able to go to Israel with Israel 365 and connect with the land, to learn the truth, to connect with the people. And it had a tremendous impact on my life and my continual leadership development. And I just wanted to do this short video to say thank you. I don't know if you really know the impact that you make in people like me across the US and other parts of the world who have such a draw to Israel as Christians, a draw to the land of our origins, the origins of our faith, an origin of our, well, in my case, even finding out that our family originates from Sephardic Jews from Spain and Portugal. So seeing origins of my own family, and just, it was amazing. And especially for me, and my name's Samuel, being able to go to Shiloh to connect with that origin story. My mom is Anna, and our story is very similar to the story of Hannah and Samuel in the Bible, where Hannah, as a barren woman, came to the temple and out of anguish was praying to God that not only did she relinquished the idea of even having a child because of her, but because she knew that the nation of Israel, the kingdom of God, needed his son, needed this child. And my mom did pretty much the same thing. She had lost a pair of twins before me. She was already in her 40s and came to God and out of anguish asked, Lord, would you bless me with a child? And if it's a son, if it's a boy, I will name him Samuel and give him back to your kingdom. And it's just amazing to see and to hear that perspective from the rabbis, from our guides, and just all the people who are a part of this journey to better understand the importance of the story of Hannah. And as a barren woman, this wouldn't have been her first prayer, right? This would have been a prayer of lifetime. And so why this prayer? And it was because of her posture of prayer and her posture of wanting to give back to the nation of Israel, to give back to God. And then also hearing the responsibility of what it means to be Samuel and that namesake. And so I walk away just very much impacted, fired up for Israel. And of course, seeing the realities of what happened on October 7th and being able to communicate that to our community here and making those connections to see how else can we foster a deeper relationship between Jews and Christians. And I just wanted you to know that you made a huge impact and have no idea all the domino effects that are going to happen here stateside of what we can do to help other young people, to help Hispanics, to help different groups to understand the truth and to be fired up for Israel and to know that God's land must prosper and we must do our part from wherever we are to be able to stand up for Jews and to stand up for the kingdom of God. Thank you for all that you do, all that you are, and just amazing to see already the fruits after just a week back from Israel of what God is doing through us, through the people that you supported and will continue to support. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
So Samuel was just on our most recent trip, and now I'd like to invite our last and final speaker for today, Nate Menza, who is somebody who is involved in real estate and has such a heart for Israel and comes with a whole story. I'm so happy that Petey and Jim had introduced us and made it possible for you to be on this trip. So thank you. I saw that they are on this call. So thank you so much for joining us. Nate, thank you so much for taking time today. I know that you had some issues as far as connection. Yeah. So hopefully we got through this and we're able to hear. So thank you so much for joining us.
No, and thank you so much, Rabbi Rami, for extending the invitation. And first and foremost, as you know, a great person that I also met, Samuel, on the trip, said, we want to thank everybody that makes this possible. If it wasn't for your contributions, your support, Israel 365 wouldn't be able to fly us out and really allow us to see God's land. But no, yeah, it was truly an amazing experience. I had the fortune of meeting so many individuals that really have diverse backgrounds, whether they're supporting in mission, spreading the word about Israel, and really the power that it has to change people's lives and its people. But thank you so much for the opportunity.
So, yeah, so love to hear maybe one or two of the highlights, and then maybe a prayer that you know that you'd like to offer, or a teaching or something, you know, something that you've that has inspired you that can inspire the audience.
Absolutely. So one of the amazing things that I really witnessed there was the unity. You see, right now we live in a time where our nation as a whole is kind of diversified. We have the left or what the right, as they say, and people's views are either seen as just or unjust. You have people that maybe just don't agree that Christianity is even real at this point. A lot of people question if God's real. And then you also have things such as, you know, the left thinking where they believe that, you know, everyone should diverge from the Bible and do their own thing. And so before this trip, you know, my mentality was, how can I change? How can I become a better leader? A little bit about me is I'm a real estate agent, but I'm also an assistant regional sales manager with a DFW brokerage called Central Judge Fight Company. And we prioritize putting people over profit, but really putting community over anything and above that. And in order to serve the community at its best, you got to have really that faith-based driven family environment. And I'm so fortunate enough to work under amazing leadership as Jim and PD that really have shared that, not just from a leadership point of view, but also as people who are just down to earth and see the value in helping other people, but also putting God first. And so when I went during that trip, I really had a lot of experiences. I mean, we landed in Tel Aviv, and then there we walked around, and really getting to see the beautiful unity in people and the city was astonishing. Because before that, everyone's telling me, "Oh, you shouldn't go. You know, it's a bad environment. Oh, they're killing children. You can't even walk the streets because there's bombs everywhere." And the way that I see it, it's so easy for people to judge when they're looking from the outside. But unless you're there and you're experiencing it for yourself, it's an opinion. It's not a factual statement. And so as I'm standing there and I'm seeing children walking, running, we're learning about, you know, how everything has to do back to at least to the Bible, and how everything can really be seen in person. It's just astonishing. After that, we went to the Old City of Jerusalem. And the first night, they're like, "Hey, you know what? Go experience it for yourself." They let us walk the streets. We went out and had, you know, we were all trying to find churros because we heard that in Israel they had churros, which were amazing. And you just really get to see that you don't have to walk in fear. They walk in happiness. They're joyful, but they're also so nationalist in the sense that everyone's there to protect their country. You know, everyone's being targeted by Palestine. They're being targeted by the Judeans. They're being targeted by really the outside world that knows nothing of them. And all that is Jews are trying to do is, you know, continue God's legacy, continue to follow those traditions. You know, you got the amazing celebration of Shabbat, which I'll talk about that here in a bit, but that really changed my life as well. And so through the time, through the experience, of course, we visited Judea, Samaria. We went to go see the kibbutz. And I think at the kibbutz near Gaza, that's where I've had my first, like, whoa, life-changing experience. Because we're walking through it, and I remember hearing a helicopter passing by, and everyone's asking, like, you know, what's the helicopter doing here? And they're saying, well, they're protecting the people here by the kibbutz, because even though there's a peace treaty where there's a ceasefire, there really is no ceasefire. They keep on trying to invade us. And so they're always having to protect themselves. But even then, they still have a smile on their face and still have that positive mind perspective that everything's going to be okay because God is protecting us and this is truly his land and he won't let nothing harm them. And so we're walking through it, and this amazing gentleman named Asher starts sharing his experience about his brother, how he was one of the few soldiers for the IDF that got called upon in the middle of Shabbat, you know, early morning where no one's expecting it, that, hey, we're being attacked, and he had to go fight, he had to go protect. And first, that was just astonishing because nowadays, if people talk about serving, it seems like, oh, why do I have to serve? Why do I have to go protect my country? I don't want to have to do that. But in Israel, it's not like that. They're proud to do it. And so he's walking us through the story of his brother. He's saying how, you know, they were getting shot from the left, from the right. They had fallen soldiers that they're trying to protect, bring back to safety. And you just can't stop to think, you just can't think it's a miracle. You got to realize, wow, God was really there protecting them because anybody else, I mean, it's a war zone. And, you know, unfortunately, Asher did share the passing of his brother. But rather than seeing it as like negative and seeing it as like, oh, it's my fault, or oh, it's the country's fault, he realized that, you know what, it's not that. He was putting his life there to protect others. My brother was a hero. And then he continued to tell us the story of the families that were affected. You had a young couple that just got married and they got killed. And as we're walking through their house, because the family was very caring enough to allow us to experience it, you just stood there and you just felt everything. You could almost feel the pain that was going through it. But you also realized that, it was a harmful moment that would happen there. And they're willing to open up. You see the text messages on the wall, you see the bullet holes, and although they're being attacked, although they're being hurt, the family said it's something that a message is still, there's something positive in there, that there's still hope. God's is gonna, they're with God now, they're being, they're in a better place. But also let them see that this is the truth. This is not a lie. We're not the ones hurting other people. They're the ones hurting us, and we're not here to hide it. You can see it for yourselves. You can see that, the factual stuff is there. And so we're continuing on, we're walking, we're just really seeing other stuff, and even learning about how the reason why some of that attack happened in the kibbutz there was because it was an inside. There was people that had malintentions. They, were trying to act like they were, we were there for good intentions, and then they were stealing information for the blueprints and then giving it back to Gaza. But what was there was that the Jews were open to, are all about opening their doors. They're not trying to kick people out. They want to welcome people in. They want to welcome their people back in. They want to welcome people from the outside to see it for themselves and see that we are truly the ones trying to persevere in hard times where we're being pressured by opposition. And so after that, we all went back. It was a hard night, so we all went to go walk and just kind of, relax. And that's where I met one of my great friends now, Alicia. Alicia is a young gentleman, or a young man. He's near his 23s. My apologies if I forgot your age, brother. But he was just an amazing person. He served in the IDF. He fought during those times. He shared his experiences, how, him and his best friend were going to go on a vacation. And next thing you know, this happens and they got to stop what they're doing. Most people would have been like, oh no, I got something planned, I'm still leaving. But they don't. They put their people first. They put their nation. And so he's talking how, they had to stop what they were doing, cancel all plans, and really go fight for their country and protect. And so that night we're walking with him. Another great friend that I met there was Nick. And so, we're talking, and he just shares how he loves his country, how everybody here is so unified that no one's going to let any other person come and hurt them. He goes ahead and tells us a little bit about the story of, the city of David that we were going to go visit. He tells us more about his family and how Shabbat is so magical for them because it allows them to just unwind from all the distractions from the outside and really just acknowledge and really appreciate the stuff that God gives us, which is each other, which is family, which is unity, which is the ability to just, be with one another and love and rejoice in his word as well. And so as the trip continued, I met more individuals. Rabbi Eli continued to share, and that's when we kind of got closer to Shabbat. So that Friday, prior to us leaving, because we left on a Saturday back home, we experienced Shabbat, which was amazing. We went to Efrat. We all got partnered up with families that took us in. Again, they're allowing us in, strangers that they don't know who they are, but they're so happy. I mean, Rabbi Eli was like, I had people upset at me because I wouldn't let them take care of you guys. I already had families in place. And so just hearing that kind of good jealousy of, hey, we want them, no, we want them, just shows you how welcoming the people of Israel really are, and how just astonishing the family and the culture is there too. And so first night of Shabbat, we meet our family. They're great. I mean, you have this amazing mother who's taking care of, I think, 4 children, 2 girls and then 2 boys, and their oldest was actually going to serve in the IDF as well. He had just been enlisted. And then what amazed me was how much knowledge of the stuff that was going on, how much self-awareness their daughter had. So the mom was busy cooking food because they were, of course, preparing for Shabbat, and they were preparing for the time to begin. So the daughter walks us down, me and a great friend of mine, Ben, who was my bunkmate during the trip. So shout out, Ben. Thank you for being my bunkmate. And she was telling us like, hey, here's the rooms. If you need anything, let me know. So we go upstairs just to introduce ourselves. And so we're talking about our experience, how we visited the city of David. We walked around. We went to our archaeologist site. We were, sieving dirt, trying to find amazing godly factors from Israel, from whenever, they had turned it down, and tons of dirt that they had. And, at one point she goes, that's pretty amazing. We actually took a field trip there. I'm like, oh, really? How was it? She goes, well, apart from the bulletproof vest and, having rocks thrown at us, it was pretty good. And we're like, well, tell us about that. Like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, yeah, for us 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds, or even anybody, when we go on field trips to certain places, we got to have protection, like bulletproof buses. And it's not because we're trying to going to hurt people, but because they're throwing rocks at us. They're trying to, hurt us instead. And we just continue on because it's everyday life. And when you hear that coming from a 14-year-old, it's like, we realize how much we take for granted. Here in the United States, kids don't have to worry about that. We have stuff that do affect them, so, unfortunately, but it's not where you have to live in fear 24/7, or not even live in fear, but have everything thrown at you, or people trying to hurt you from the outside. And when you're hearing a little girl share that experience and share the stuff that she goes through on an everyday basis, you realize, wow, sometimes we have it so easy and we don't realize that until we see it from another person's perspective. And so as the day went by, we went and celebrated Shabbat, which was amazing. We got to accomplish with Rabbi Eli. He all gave us the book of it. Oh my God, sorry, I forgot the name. Trying to think about it.
Shabbat Revolution.
The Shabbat Revolution, yes. And so he was explaining to us, you can try to sing it. They have it everything broken down, and then here's the English version. And so a lot of us, we try to sing, we try to stay to the plan. They, of course, also gave a shout out to the group because they were also so happy to see us. Again, people who are Christians, where they're like, oh, Christians and Jews can't come along. That's the complete opposite truth. The truth is Christian Zionism is amazing because you get to unify two different cultures, two different beliefs that all, synchronize in the same belief that, at the end of the day, God is the one that protects us all. As we say in our company, we're in the effort business, God is in the outcome business. And so afterwards, they had a dinner. We had families also stop by. Those that were taking care of us, they all came together and visited us during that dinner. Then we got to hear from other people's stories. We kind of got to hear from some Orthodox Jews. Then we heard about just other people. And then afterwards, we all just got together at Alicia's house, and we just, had a great time. We got to really rejoice in each other's company, and also just share our experiences both from the United States and those that are living there in Israel till this day. And so the last day was kind of the sad day because that's the day that you realize it's gone a week has gone by so fast, something that we didn't expect to go by so quick. Because first day there, it was jam-packed. Mama Mercedes is an amazing lady that took care of us the whole time. She had the whole week planned with an itinerary. So did Rabbi Eli. And so every single day was just jam-packed with nothing but inspiring and eye-opening events. We visited Nova Fest. We saw the planting of the trees that happened at Nova Fest from all the families that were there, remembering their families, the kids, children that they lost, people our age or even younger that were affected. And so that last day, you kind of just take it, it all comes to hit you like a truck, as they say. It hits you all at once, and you're just like, you know, I have so much to share when I get back, but also the people that I've met, the people that I've seen, they're never going to leave my life. They're always going to be a part of it. And that last night, the morning we had food. Afterwards, we all went to Rabbi Eli's house. We had a Bible study. And then he kind of gave us all each our Hebrew names. And I think that was something that was very special because we got to hear, what is our Hebrew name? My name is Nathanael, which that's my legal name. So that's Nathaniel in the Bible. And so mine talked about, just being a leader, leading by example, and also being able to always be there for those that maybe can't help themselves. And that's kind of how I felt that the Jews live their lives every day. They're fearless leaders that they lead by example, they lead by love, they lead by selflessness. They never put themselves first, they put others first. Everybody was so open, so caring. And then they also just share their own experiences. I mean, we had so many experiences shared by us by so many individual people that it's hard to try to remember everybody's name. But some of the stories that we heard were from IDF soldiers. On one of the nights that we had Bible study, we heard from a soldier who we called Captain Israel, because he's over there fighting in the front lines. He's trying to go from Israel, Lebanon, and they just have a tree line where that's all they have for territory to fight. And in the meantime, he's got other people that he's got to worry about. He's got, his wife probably worried like what's going on because of the same night that all happened all of a sudden during Shabbat. And he's like, I can't think of that. I got to think of what about the people that are going to get hurt if I don't stop the people from attacking from Gaza, if I don't stop people from attacking from Lebanon, if I don't just put other people first and think of myself last. Because at the end of the day, we're doing God's will by fighting the oppression that is trying to hurt us and hurt his land. And so, it was just an eye-opening experience. And I remember even on the flight back, just thinking, wow, I can't imagine, I can't imagine not seeing that and still thinking that, oh, Jews are horrible, that they're truly children, and all this stuff that is fed by the propaganda and fed by the left wing. And when I came back, it was just so amazing. I got to meet Petey and Jim during one of their grandchildren's play that they had during Christmas time. And, you know, we only had a couple of minutes during intermission to talk, but there was just so much more that I wanted to share. And I mean, hopefully I'll get to meet with them and sit down and have a more discussion and just share my more experience, the experience with them. But overall, it's just breathtaking. I mean, I'm so happy and really so fortunate that the opportunity was given to me, that I was the one that, you know, was blessed enough to see it, because I also got to hear from other individuals that they had their backgrounds, they had their stories, and they have also the oppression that's attacking them, whether that's, you know, people saying that they're wrong for their beliefs, that Christianity isn't even real, or that, you know, we have the Muslims that are also trying to feed a whole different perspective. And even in, you know, DFW, we have an influx where they're trying to, you know, we have different areas where are being affected more than others.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's Nate, it's such it's amazing to hear your testimony. First of all, you speak unbelievably well. I mean, I hope you recognize that, but just hearing what's in your heart, and you know, being able to share that, and you know, you're right. Not everybody gets that opportunity, and I think that's the point. We would love to be able to offer this to, you know, tens of thousands of people, and turn this into like a birthright for Christians, you know, to be able to come. We're still waiting for that very large donor, but in the meantime, we will continue to fight and bring over as many people as we can, because these experiences, they shape you, and I think it's something that's important, obviously, for the support for Israel, but I think, as you pointed out, it's really important for America, for people to recognize and walk around with this sense of, wow, what does actual freedom look like when you don't need to go ahead and defend your own borders, although America has its own issues and challenges with that. But you know, I think the majority of Americans are not actually fighting, unless you live in Minnesota. But that is that's really really just something amazing, and God should continue to bless all of your efforts, you know, both in terms of real estate, you know, as you said, you rely on him for the results, but also you know, to continue to put in that effort, and to help people and help the community grow, and share this testimony with as many people as you can, because a lot of people do not see what you saw. So God should continue to bless all of your efforts.
Thank you, Rabbi.
So thank you. So I'd like to just to you know, kind of come together. I know we went a little bit over this time, and like I said, anyone who could help and bring, and another Sarah, another Nate, another Sebastian, you bring over these people, it is going to have a ripple effect that starts with that drop and will continue out and have a massive effect on communities across the world, and eventually the world over. But that starts with a single drop. It starts with a single donation, a single support. And as that can go out, and that can go out, we really cannot do it without you. And thank you, everyone, for joining today. My just final prayer is that God should continue to bless all of our efforts, and let us see the final redemption, not just of Israel or the United States, but of the entire world over. The entire world should recognize God as master of the universe, and that and the world should wake up and recognize the justice and righteousness that we're supposed to be doing one for the other, and not have this fighting, but ultimately bring God at the center of everything that we do. Wishing everybody a wonderful day, wonderful week, and looking forward to the next opportunity to pray together and to study together. All the best, and God bless.